Hello friends, our topic in this video is our blocking codes. Now, I am going to talk about the law of attraction, which is mentioned a lot in the spiritual community. After that, I will explain how these create awareness regarding blocking codes. Now, according to how the law of attraction is explained, we should be able to attract everything. Now, we have done many studies on this regarding the law of attraction. We have done quite a bit of work on ourselves regarding why we cannot attract money, why we cannot attract abundance, and why we cannot attract good things in relationships. Over the years, I do not know about you, but I have done a fair amount of work. Then, I had an awareness like this. More precisely, I noticed these blocking codes. Everything actually exists in the universe. Everything exists in money, relationships, etc. But we block ourselves from receiving them. In other words, we assume that we do not deserve it. Now let us say this about money first. I have done the most work regarding money studies. That is why I will talk about money and relationships. Regarding money, we truly do not believe we deserve money, or because of our belief and inner wisdom that we will turn into a worse version of ourselves the moment money arrives, and that it will not be good for our spiritual evolution, this blocks us. Now, how do we experience the awareness of these? Now, there is a situation like this. Until this awareness is experienced, the code remains there. Now think of something. Think of a software. There are many codes inside the software. Now, without realizing what these codes are, we cannot understand which ones do what inside. We have a source code. There are codes outside of that too. But sometimes the codes outside that source code block the energy, and it prevents us from creating the energy, money, abundance, or the situation we want. But we do not notice these codes. What is required for us to notice this? Two things are required. We will either take this software to a programmer. We will say, look, there is a problem with this. It works, but it is not efficient. Or we will solve it ourselves. Now, what we mean by taking it to a programmer is this. We take it to a programmer, and programmers are teachers, so on and so forth. They cannot explain the exact content of the source code to you either. They can only say this. Yes, there is a software, and the subject of the software is this. And you think about the subject of that software, and you notice the situation within it that you need to notice, that you need to create awareness about. Well, how do you notice this? Especially in relationships, or in everything else, everything works with the hook model. In other words, as long as you cannot hook something, that thing does not exist there. Hooks are also two-sided. For example, let me talk about one side of the hook regarding relationships, then we will pull back to money and the rest. For example, when you experience a problem regarding the other party or relationships, you believe in it, and you believe that this problem originates from the other party. And when you do not deserve this, you believe that it actually should not be this way. Actually, it needs to be exactly like this. If it did not need to be that way, you would not experience that problem anyway. When you look from the other side in the same way, the other party experiences the same problem, experiences a similar problem, and you hook onto each other. In other words, every problem is not experienced unless it is connected to each other through the hook model. I should have chosen this, I did not do that. Everything where you say, actually, I do not want it to be like this, is actually organized by us. But we simply do not have this awareness. In other words, what is called this awareness is that our consciousness level does not yet have the sufficient equipment to understand that software. There is a very large software like this. Who is the one to understand that software? A programmer at a master or senior level would understand that software. Someone with 20 to 30 years of experience would understand it. Therefore, we do not understand it. Because we do not understand, we say, I did not choose this. Actually, you chose this. How did you choose it? All choices are made for the purpose of healing. All choices. There are energy leaks in between. Those are a separate topic. In other words, the system draws energy from us by noticing these codes outside of those source codes. They also feed off of this. That is also a separate topic. It is the topic of a separate video. I will mention it there as well. What I am going to mention right now are blocking codes. In other words, while we are actually attracting something with the law of attraction, it already exists. We do not actually even need to attract anything. What is actually necessary is this. noticing the blocking code. In other words, it is necessary to work on this as well. How? First of all, by writing. The act of writing sets it into motion, along with the voice code. Our awareness increases by writing. After we pass half a page or a paragraph that we have been writing for a certain time, the text is no longer written by us. The thought is continued by us, but the act of converting it into writing, that is, the act of converting it into action, continues with awareness. In other words, the writing continues with different states of consciousness. That is why you will take the book and the pen in your hand and you will write. What will you write? I am experiencing such a problem. What is this problem protecting me from? Yes, I am in scarcity. I have a problem with money. What is this protecting me from? Write down what it protects you from. Why would I be in transition when I become rich? Write this down too. Why should money not come to me? Write this down too. Why should it not come? After this, start writing. After writing, you will see some things, and you will be surprised too. You will say, do such things exist? Those things that come out there are the moments where you say, aha, those are the realizations. In other words, you have found a code. You have found a code there. But one more code might not come out. Did that one emerge? It could have emerged, or it might not have emerged. The important thing is to put effort into something. After that, the second code will come, and the third code will come too. Already after a certain stage, the codes start to open up on their own. In other words, there is a separate code system above you that holds these codes. After you open that, they already start to rise to the surface. The moment you say regarding something, yes, I am having a problem with this, I wonder why I am having it, a code comes immediately. In other words, a memory comes to your mind. Something comes from somewhere. In other words, versions can come from the past. It can come from somewhere else, from the future. A code comes. You are asked to heal it. In other words, you need to heal it more precisely. You reach those awarenesses. That is why I will not scatter the subject too much now. We talked about how to find this blocking code like that. Today, the blocking code is not only about money. It is also about relationships. We need to write the following. Yes, in the event that I reach the thing I want, in the event that I reach it, why would my version be worse than the current one? What is scarcity protecting me from? What are bad relationships protecting me from? We will write these. After writing, we will notice that our awareness has increased and our consciousness has expanded. I am ending my video with the intention that our awareness and consciousness expand even further and that our society, our group, and our society grow even more. Take good care of yourselves. See you soon.